Living longer, living healthier, living better than ever before. Welcome to Mountain Pacific's Healthy Living for Life, a weekly series that gives you the information, education, and expert insight you need to become an active participant in today's ever-changing healthcare climate. Here now is today's program host.
Planning for your future is more than building a nest egg. The nest itself becomes just as important. Whether your senior housing search is due to a serious medical condition or simply a lifestyle change, finding the right place to live can be challenging and stressful for you and your family. I'm your host, Lisa Sather. Welcome to Healthy Living for Life, a show dedicated to helping you do just that. Today, we're talking about senior living options and which one might be best for you. Stay tuned. In recent years, a wide range of long-term care services have been developed to keep people independent for as long as possible. These services range from help with household tasks and personal care to comprehensive and intensive nursing home care. My first guest today is Leigh Ann Holmes, who is here to talk about some of the different long-term care options and what you need to know about them when you're making decisions about your care or the care of a loved one. Welcome, Leigh Ann.
Hello.
Thanks for being here. So let's start by defining some of the common long-term care options when it comes to senior living. Specifically, the differences between nursing homes, assisted living, and adult daycares. And let's start by talking about nursing homes.
Okay, perfect. So nursing homes, so the technical term is long-term care facilities. That's the licensed version. They're also referred to as skilled nursing facilities, but we commonly still refer to them as nursing homes. So we may use those terms interchangeably. So nursing homes is the highest level of care available for seniors and people with other disabilities and needs. So they are traditionally for people who need care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They may need skilled nursing care, physical therapy, occupational therapy, supervision, assistance with communication, a variety of needs. Nursing homes are not only, as I said, for older adults, but you may have people with disabilities or recovering from accidents, rehab type residents as well. They're cared for by nursing staff and certified nursing assistants. There's 24-hour awake supervision and 24-hour nursing available in nursing homes. That's one of the things that really makes the difference. So in nursing homes, there's private or semi-private rooms. It really is a valuable option when the care needs cannot be met in the home anymore or in another level of care. In Montana, we have 78 licensed long-term care facilities at this time, and that number has been decreasing over the past few years, primarily due to rural communities. A lot of rural communities will also have a critical access hospital and a nursing home. And the needs of the community can be met strictly by the critical access hospital. And so a lot of small communities are choosing to close the nursing homes, expand their critical access hospital beds, which also incorporate long-term care beds. And so that's kind of a trend that we're seeing right now in Montana.
Okay. You may have touched on this just a little bit, but some quick examples of when people may need to be considering moving into a nursing home, so they can get that kind of long-term care that they need.
Mm-hmm. So just to expound on that, the most common reason is obvious. I think it's obvious that the needs exceed what can be taken care of in a home setting, or maybe even in an assisted living type facility. And primarily that's help with ADLs. They just need extensive assistance with eating, walking, bathing, dressing, hygiene, toileting, transferring, those kind of things. And so actually 75% of nursing home residents in Montana need assistance with 3+ ADLs. Wow. And so another thing that a lot of people need is they get to a point where they need assistance with medications. Mm-hmm. And in the other setting types, and even at homes, their medication lists become so cumbersome, and the regimens and the treatment regimens that they just can't take care of them at home, and they need somebody to oversee that. They can also have issues with skin breakdown that results in a need for wound care that can't be managed in the home setting. And finally, there's issues with risk to themselves. So it could be dementia, it could be wandering, it could be just not taking care of themselves to the extent that they need to be safe.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about nursing homes a little bit later, but let's move on to assisted living. And can you tell us, in a couple of minutes or so, what an assisted living facility is, and how is it different from a nursing home or a skilled nursing facility?
Sure. So assisted living facilities were formerly called personal care homes, and they offer a housing, and I really like to say a living option, because they're not just a housing option, for older adults who may need help with those ADLs, but at a lesser extent. They don't need round-the-clock supervision by nurses, and they also don't need mainly medication administration. They may need reminders or prompts or someone to deliver their medications to them, but not to administer the medications. I think the thing about assisted livings that is interesting is they vary greatly in size, in the people that they serve, in the services that they provide. So we have 207 licensed assisted living facilities in Montana, and of those, I would say more than half have 20 beds or less. So they vary from maybe 4 beds to 200 beds. So that is just a huge variable. Some provide care from so that seniors can age in place, so they can just enter one place and they don't need to go to a higher level of care because they have the services available to meet the needs for the lifetime. As opposed to nursing home care, as we said, they require round-the-clock, or they provide round-the-clock care, and for more complex healthcare situations. Generally speaking, although this is not across the board, assisted living residents are pretty independent. Give or take a few, they are pretty independent and just need a little assistance with different needs.
We're going to return here and visit a little bit more, so stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. We're still talking with Leigh Ann Holmes this morning about long-term care and senior living options and how to make the right choice for you or a loved one. Welcome back, Leigh Ann.
Thank you.
So moving on, I'd really like to talk to you about the other facility option, which is the adult daycare. I had not heard of this. So can you tell us a little bit about what an adult daycare center is, especially compared to a nursing home or assisted living?
Sure. So as the name suggests, adult daycare facilities offer adult daycare. Similar to taking a child to a daycare during the day, you would take your loved one so you can go to work, so you could go shopping, so you can have some respite time. It's a perfect option for people that want to keep their loved ones at home, but they don't want to get burned out, and they have other things to do in their lives. So in Montana, we have one adult daycare center, and the rest of the adult daycares, there's 57 others, and they are incorporated into another type of facility, the facilities that we've already talked about, the assisted livings and the long-term cares and the critical access hospitals. So the services that they provide are activities, assistance with ADLs, medication assistance, and meals and snacks. So it's kind of just a very light level of care, just intended to give families a break.
Sounds good. So does a person have to meet certain requirements to get care at any of these long-term care facilities, or is it up to the person and their loved ones to decide what care level of care that a person might need?
No. So loved ones and the families need to, they have the responsibility for deciding which facility is best, but each facility type has assessments that they're required to complete to identify whether they can meet the needs of the residents in that facility type.
Okay, good. So one of the big concerns for people is how do we pay for long-term care options? It's it's a very valid concern, of course. Can we go back to nursing homes for a minute,
Sure.
maybe, and start there? And, someone knows they need 24-hour care that's to be provided by a nursing home. What are some ways they might be able to pay for those nursing home services?
Right, so nursing care, because it's the most extensive and the highest level of care, is obviously the most costly. And it really is a challenge for a lot of people. The national average for nursing home care is about $200 a day. Medicaid, there is some assistance available through state Medicaid programs. There's criteria with that, of course, non-financial criteria and financial criteria. And it's best to just call the local, your local area on agency or the Department of Public Health and Human Services to see if you qualify for Medicaid benefits. Medicare benefits are limited in nursing homes, but they could be provided in, say, a rehab situation. Medicare may be used for that. So it's kind of short-term skilled nursing care. There's some options for veterans, and I would just encourage people to go and contact the VA. Long-term care insurance, and then some people actually pay out-of-pocket costs.
So if a person has Medicaid, can they qualify for Medicare as well?
They can. There is some dual eligibility, and again, the best contact would be to contact the Area Agency on Aging and get some help with kind of navigating the system.
Great. So aside from the cost and payment options, what else should people be looking for in a nursing home?
So I would say the best thing to do would be to go on. There's some national clearinghouses that that have information about care. They rate the care of nursing homes. These are facilities that are certified by Medicare and Medicaid. And so a great place to start would be Nursing Home Compare. You can also talk to your doctor. Usually your community has some ideas of where are the best places, and needs differ, and facilities provide different levels of care to different populations. I would also visit some nursing homes, look at the residents that are there, look at the facility. Is it clean? Take a walk through, have a tour, have a meal there, talk to staff, talk to residents, talk to families. So you can also see if a nursing home is accredited by the Joint Commission.
Okay.
And so that's another option.
Good information, thank you. So let's move on to assisted living, and let's talk about how people can pay for that option. We have about a minute or so left, and so if we can
Sure.
give some highlights on that, that would be great.
Sure. So most assisted living, and I would say I would just lump in there adult daycare, is paid for out of pocket.
Okay.
There is some Medicaid waiver that pays for some services. There are some slots in assisted living facilities. Long-term care insurance covers some of the expenses in assisted living, and Medicare does not. Again, there's more assistance available through the VA. So again, those same contacts, I would say. And then the Area Agency on Aging is always a great place to go to get just some basic information.
And we do have just a little bit of time
Okay.
left, so maybe quickly, I'm kind of skipping down a little bit, but maybe we can go back to adult daycare.
Sure.
And just let us know, are there any options for help getting payment for that?
Just similar. Medicaid will pay some in order through the home and community-based waiver program to keep people in their homes in the, the most appropriate place. And so that's an option. A lot of it's private pay, and it ranges about $70 a day. So it's actually one of the more affordable options.
Yes. Sounds good. Well, I really want to thank you for being with us today.
Yeah.
You've shared a lot of great information I'm sure our viewers will appreciate. So
Thank
you so
you for the
much.
opportunity.
Absolutely. Coming up next, this is a lot of information to take in, but how does it really apply to your personal situation? We'll get some help with that right after this. Stay with us. If talking about the different long-term care facilities and senior living options seems a bit overwhelming, there's good news. There are resources available to help you sort through all the information so you can make the choice that's right for you or your loved one. There are also resources to help make sure your rights are being protected after you choose a long-term care option. Joining me now are Jerry Sorensen and Glenna Kurns, who are both part of the state long-term care Ombudsman program. Welcome, folks.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, Jerry. Can you tell us what a long-term ombudsman is?
An ombudsman is basically an advocate for residents of long-term care facilities. There are several different kinds of ombudsmen that can cause some confusion. There's a mental health ombudsman, there's a family services ombudsman. We're specifically for long-term care facilities. That includes assisted living facilities and nursing homes and critical access hospitals with swing beds. They're considered by state law long-term care facilities. So we go in and we work with the residents of facilities to make sure that their rights are protected, that they have a voice in their care. We basically are there to give them a voice in their care. So I'm sorry.
You're good.
Our services are confidential. We're not able to share any of the information unless we have the permission of the resident. The relationship is based on trust, and so that we can work with each other and we can make sure that the rights are protected.
Thank you. So I guess the next question then would be, when or why should I go to an ombudsman for help?
Well, you can go to an ombudsman for any reason. If you have any issue or any question that deals with your rights as a resident of a long-term care facility. We have contacts from everything from cold coffee in the dining room to involuntary discharges from a facility. Okay. So there's a whole range. There's nothing really too small. If it's a concern to the resident, then we would like to help the folks deal with it.
Great. So Glenna, maybe next to you. So, arguably one of the most important roles an ombudsman plays, as Jerry's mentioned, is being an advocate for patients' rights. And especially when they live in a nursing home, of course, or an assisted living facility. So can you talk a little bit about whether or not a nursing home resident's rights are different than someone who lives in an assisted living facility, for example?
Basically, the rights are very, very similar. All residents have the right to be treated with dignity and respect. They have the right to be free from chemical and physical restraints. They have the right to manage their own finances, to voice grievances without fear of retaliation, to associate with and communicate with anyone of their choice and to do so privately, to send and receive personal mail, to have personal and medical records kept confidential, to apply for state and federal assistance without discrimination, to be fully informed prior to admission of their rights, the services available, and any changes that are going to be coming, and the charges for those, and to be given advance notice of a transfer or a discharge. Nursing homes do provide medical care, and so the residents also have the right then to know their medical condition, how they're being treated for that condition, and whether there are other alternatives. In assisted livings, the type A or category A assisted livings do not provide nursing care or medical care, but it's the category B and category C assisted living ones do at least provide nursing supervision of the person's medical care. So that is one difference. And the people are allowed to know what their care is, to see their records, all of that.
Great. So Jerry, back to you. So do all states have an ombudsman program?
Yes, the Federal Older Americans Act specifies that each state has an office of the state long-term care ombudsman. In fact, there's 53 state ombudsmen. Guam and Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia also have state ombudsmen, and because Montana is so big, we don't do it ourselves as the state office. We have the ability to designate representatives of the office of the state ombudsman, and currently we have around 30 individuals that work in 20 full-time equivalency positions. So there are 20 full-time people, essentially, that go across the state. And part of the reason for that is because Montana is so expansive. In the state, the 2016 federal fiscal year report, we had 78 nursing homes, 46 swing beds, critical access hospitals, and 211 assisted living. That breaks down to about 13,000 beds that with potential folks that we have to advocate for. There are about 7,000 in nursing homes and critical access hospitals, and about 6,000 in the assisted living facilities. So it's a big job. We have some great people working in it. We like to keep local people so that, as I said, that trust can be built up, so that the face is familiar and so that the people feel comfortable talking to them.
Thank you. That's great information. That concludes our show this week. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, stay fit, stay well, and stay healthy for life with Healthy Living for Life. Have a great week.
Healthy Living for Life is brought to you by Mountain Pacific Quality Health. We'd love to hear from you. If you have suggestions for future programs, visit our website at mpqhf.org or call us at 406-443-4020. You can also catch us on YouTube by visiting our website and clicking on the YouTube icon. Special thanks to Fire Tower Coffee House and Roasters. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions.